Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our 6th day of learning from home. It is Monday, and in honor of Crazy Hair Day, I grew a beard for you. So, welcome to Story Time with Louie and Sophie and Mrs. Laurent. We're going to read just a little bit of Ramona the Pest. We're up to the chapter about Ramona's engagement ring. An engagement ring is a ring that generally you get when you're going to get married, and it basically is a sort of a promise that we're going to get married. So that's what an engagement ring is. So we're going to find out about Ramona's engagement ring. "No," said Ramona on the first rainy morning after she had started kindergarten. "Yes," said Mrs. Quimby. "No," said Ramona, "I won't." "Ramona, be sensible," said Mrs. Quimby. "I don't want to be sensible," said Ramona. "I hate being sensible." What is sensible? I decided that we would harvest that word today. Sensible means practical and functional. So basically, if you look at the word sensible, inside you see the word sense. And doing something sensible means doing something that makes sense. And it might not be the best option or the most fun option, but it's the option that makes sense. So let's see what Ramona doesn't want to be sensible about. "Now, Ramona," said her mother, and Ramona knew she was about to be reasoned with, "you have a new raincoat. Boots cost money, and Howie's old boots are perfectly good. The soles are scarcely worn." "The tops aren't shiny," Ramona told her mother, "and they're brown boots. Brown boots are for boys." "They keep your feet dry," said Mrs. Quimby, "and that's what boots are for." Ramona realized she looked sulky. "Show me sulky." But she couldn't help herself. Only grown-ups would say boots were for keeping feet dry. Anyone in kindergarten knew that a girl should wear shiny red or white boots on the first rainy day, not to keep her feet dry, but to show off. That's what boots were for. Showing off, wading, splashing, stamping. "Ramona," said Mrs. Quimby sternly, "get that look off your face this instant. Either you wear those boots or you stay home from school." Ramona recognized that her mother meant what she said, and so because she loved kindergarten, she sat down on the floor and dragged on the hated brown boots, which did not go with her new flowered plastic raincoat and hat. Howie arrived in a yellow slicker that was long enough for him to grow into for at least 2 years, and a yellow rain hat that almost hid his face. Beneath the raincoat, Ramona glimpsed a pair of shiny brown boots, which she supposed she would have to wear someday when they were old and dull and dirty. "Those are my old boots," said Howie, looking at Ramona's feet as they started off to school. "You better not tell anybody," Ramona plodded along, on feet almost too heavy to lift. We've harvested plodded before. Plodded is when you walk and your feet are almost too heavy to move. It was a perfect morning for anyone with new boots. Enough rain had fallen. Hi, Lou. Enough rain had fallen in the night to fill the gutters with muddy streams and to bring worms squirming out of the lawns onto the sidewalks. The intersection by the school was unusually quiet that morning because rain had halted construction. Halted means stopped on the new market. Ramona was so downhearted that she did not even tease Henry Huggins. Here's a picture of Ramona and Howie. She did not even tease Henry Huggins when he led her across the street. The kindergarten playground, as she had expected, was swarming with boys and girls in raincoats, most of them too big, and boots, most of them new. Remember, swarming meant gathering in a great big group. The girls wore various sorts of raincoats and red or white boots, all except Susan, who carried her new white boots so she would not get them muddy. The boys looked alike because they all wore yellow raincoats and hats and brown boots. Ramona was not even sure which boy was Davy, not that it mattered that morning. Her feet felt too heavy for chasing anyone. Part of the class had lined up properly by the door waiting for Miss Binney, while the rest ran about clomping, splashing, and stamping. "Those are boys' boots you're wearing," said Susan to Ramona. Ramona didn't answer. Instead, she picked up a smooth pink worm that lay wiggling on the playground, and without really thinking, wound it around her finger. "Look!" yelled Davy from beneath his big rain hat. "Ramona's wearing a ring made out of a worm!" Ramona hadn't thought of the worm as a ring until now, but she saw at once that the idea was interesting. "See my ring?" she shouted. thrusting her fist toward the nearest face. Thrusting. Like that. Boots were temporarily forgotten. Everyone ran screaming from Ramona to avoid being shown her ring. "See my ring? See my ring?" shouted Ramona, racing around the playground on feet that were suddenly much lighter. When Miss Binny appeared around the corner, the class scrambled to line up by the door. "Miss Binny! Miss Binny!" Everyone wanted to be the first to tell. "Ramona is wearing a worm for a ring." "It's a pink worm. It's a pink worm," said Ramona, thrusting out her hand. "Not an old dead white worm." "Oh, what a pretty worm," said Miss Binny bravely. "It's so smooth and pink." Ramona elaborated. Let's harvest elaborated. Elaborated means to present something in detail, meaning that I'm going to tell you everything about it. Elaborate. Ramona elaborated. She told more about it. "It's my engagement ring." "Who are you engaged to?" asked Dan. "I haven't decided," said Ramona. "Not me," Davy piped up. "Not me," said Howie. "Not me," said Eric R. "Well, Ramona," Miss Binny was searching for words, "I don't think you should wear your, ring to kindergarten. Why don't you put it down on the playground in a puddle so that it will stay fresh?" Ramona was happy to do anything Miss Binny wanted her to do. She unwound the worm from her finger and placed it carefully in a puddle where it lay limp and still. After that, Ramona raced around the playground with a worm around her finger whenever her mother made her wear Howie's old boots to school. And when everyone asked who she was engaged to, she always answered, "I haven't decided." "Not me," Davy always said, followed by Howie, Eric R., and any other boy who happened to be near. We're going to stop right there. We're going to pick up with this tomorrow, and we'll read more about Ramona's engagement ring. Thank you for coming to Storytime this morning. I miss you all. Bye-bye.